Hello, everyone. Episode 101 of Fitness Business Growth. I'm with Mitch. How are you, mate?
Very well, mate. 101.
101. We made it. Today's podcast is what would we do if we were to start over and we had less than $5,000? And this is something that we actually did in 2018. We opened up a morning boot camp out of an indoor center for less than $5,000. We grew it to over 100 members, paying $40 a week. And believe it or not, we finished work at 7:31 a.m.
Yeah, that was, God, what was that 6, 7 years ago now? We had locations previous to that where we would start in somewhere similar, like a hall or a park or somewhere that didn't require a lease, but we were always just looking at ways to make it more efficient and more profitable. And that's where with this location, we went from our previous plans with our other locations of having full timetables, so morning, mid-morning and afternoon/evening sessions, to just 3 early morning ones.
Just to confirm, we had a Walls End boot camp at a massive indoor hall. We'd run sessions at 5:15, 6 a.m., 6:45, 9:30, 4:15, 5 p.m., and 5:45. So we're running a full timetable out of this indoor hall. The hall guy loved it who was managing it. We were their most profitable customer by far. But as you know, running a fitness business, running all those sessions, it's definitely a lot. And it can definitely complicate things with staffing, having mid-morning and definitely afternoon sessions. So we thought, can we actually do this? Can we open up a boot camp? Can we get it to 100 members only running morning sessions, 5:15, 6 a.m., 6:45? Because over the years, we realized that our mornings were super busy. We get through 60, 70, 80 people. And sometimes mid-morning and arvos, we get through another 20. Thought, can we do it just with mornings only?
Kind of forced our hand a bit as well because we were looking for a location in Warners Bay.
Beautiful area.
Very nice area. And we actually couldn't find anywhere that had the availability to run mid-morning and afternoon ones. So kind of by choice, we spoke with the indoor sports center and they said, yeah, like no one's here until like 9 o'clock in the morning. So totally fine for you to run
And
early
just to
ones.
confirm, an indoor sports center, think indoor netball, indoor cricket, indoor soccer.
Yeah, big, like 3 or 4 different courts, like huge area. And for anyone who's been involved in that, like sometimes you'll have some schools and things come through the day, some other
On
groups.
holidays, I had those jumping castles.
Yeah, the inflatable world. Mid-morning sessions, sometimes they got mid-morning stuff, and then afternoons and evenings are where they're super busy with cricket, soccer, netball, whatever. But early on in the mornings, they had nothing. So then when we spoke with them, they said, hey, can't really help you out throughout the day, but the mornings are available. Is that something that could work?
So the hypothesis, can we get to 100 members paying $40 a week, running sessions Monday through Friday at 5:15, 6 a.m. and 6:45, so still 15 sessions per week, but finishing at 7:31 p.m. and we piss off local anytime and do a chest workout.
And hit the beach.
Hit the beach. So this is something that we actually did. And I've got the game plan for how you can do it. Now, I want to start by why would you do this as opposed to getting a commercial lease or potentially buying into a franchise? This is no shade at buying into a franchise. This is no shade at going out, pursuing your dreams, spending 100K, fitting out your gym. What if you do that? You get 3 months in and you have 0 clients? Or worse, what if you actually don't enjoy it and you're doing it for the next 3 or 5 years because you're obligated by a lease? The idea that you can rent a community hall or a Girl Guide hall or an indoor center and give this a crack for 3 months, it's a win-win. And if you have a successful 3 months, you have 100 members like we did, you can then move them into a commercial facility. So like, I don't know whether we're cheap or we're smart or we're cheap, smart, if we're risk averse, but I was always looking at, well, how can we minimize our risk in everything that we do? Because just to be clear, we didn't come from money. We never got a loan. We never owed anyone money. So we funded this with our own savings.
We always just thought that it was common sense. It's like, well, let's test it here. Let's see if we have interest. Let's see if we can prove out market concept, which we didn't even know those terms, but let's see if we can get some members. And then if we do, then we can look at potential next steps of moving into a facility, signing a lease, etc. And looking back, like to your point of, 3 months or so, that maybe then that's kind of how we did think. But even now, like I'd if we were to do it again, I'd be wanting to extend that out to a couple of years, because we know that that first year sometimes
The
is
excitement's there.
the best one you have, or among the best ones you have. Then the second year can be a little bit harder. By the time you're through that third year, the whole business is nothing like what it was 36 months ago. A lot of people's leases are 3 years. So I think, and we'll talk about it, but if you were to try this, maybe you want to give it a couple of years. And if you're still really loving it at the end of 3 years and you've got a huge member base and you're wanting to move, then so be it. You can at that point.
So the money math, we paid $400 a week to rent this space.
Yep.
It was on a month-to-month agreement, so it was $80 a morning. We rented it for 2 hours. We did 3 sessions every morning, 5:15, 6 a.m., 6:45. We grew this to just over 100 members. The average price was $40 per week. We had people on 12-month agreements, 6-month agreements, and month-to-month agreements. So if you are an owner-operator and you don't have staff and you don't have capital, we set this facility up for less than $5,000. $4,000 went onto marketing, probably $4,500 went to marketing, and we bought literally, I think it was 6 to 12 kettlebells from Kmart, some yellow 6 kettlebells, some orange 8-kilo kettlebells, and I think with the greens, the big ones, the big scary
16s.
ones, the big 16s, and this was amazing. We couldn't believe it. It worked.
Yeah, so they weren't from Kmart, actually. They were from Rebel Sport.
Oh,
We didn't skimp that hard, but it is a bit embarrassing how little equipment we had. But
But the crazy thing is, so we opened up, I think we opened with about 50, 60 members. But then in 3 weeks' time to get some slam balls. And members, oh my God, this is so exciting. What is this? And then we got some boxing gear. And we even ended up getting some rogue assault bikes towards the end.
well, side note, like with the indoor center, it's such a huge facility. So we had access to, not that we needed it, but like multiple courts. But even if we had like one indoor court, anyone who knows like a cricket indoor court, like it's probably 30 meters by 10. So it's,
So as opposed to your members are legally running out your commercial space onto the pathway, they were up and down the court.
so you were not bound by space. So there was a lot of variety in the workout. So we didn't need much gear, but
Not
that's,
to mention, we could shoot hoops towards the end for games.
yeah, we did a lot of games.
It was great. And
Yeah, it was.
I want this idea to be something that the audience would think, wow, that's incredible. And the belief that they couldn't would be no one would sign up to a boot camp in an indoor space. No one would pay $40 a week for access to 6 kettlebells. And no one would do a direct debit out of an indoor hall.
I think that last one's the one. I think
the direct debit?
Yeah. So I think people would have done this before and charged 10, 15, $20 a session.
Not for me.
Yeah, whatever. Or, people will come and attend, or maybe they do 10 weeks of however many $100. But the thought of it being like a membership with a direct debit and ran the same as any gym would be, it's just something that is a bit of a myth buster, I think, that we proved out. And we did it not just with this one, but with all of our other boot camps we started too.
Sold people over the phone in pre-sale. They came down for
That
their
was
first
our
session.
Side note, this was our very first phone sale.
That's correct. So at the point we had 2 locations, and whenever we had a sale, we'd go there in person. I'd go to one location, you'd go to the other. We quickly realized at 3 locations that was impossible. So how can we do this? And we decided to start doing all sales over the phone.
Yeah, I remember I was texting a lead and I was trying to plan an appointment. She said, "Oh, I'm free now if you are," on the phone. I said, "I'll give you a call." And then sold her a 6-month membership. And then that was
it.
Away we went.
I remember the weekend before we started this pre-sale, myself, you, our friends, Jared, and our partners went to Nelson Bay, and Captain Dumbass left his car keys at Woolworths. Couldn't find them.
Yeah.
So we were driving back to Nelson Bay to pick up my car keys, and you did your first sale over the phone. I remember her name still. I'm not going to say it. MM. And that was the beginning of our first phone sale, and we never ever looked back.
Yeah, that was for the pre-sale of this one. But we look back, and this is, like I said, 6 or 7, end of 18, start of 2019, and we still marvel at it because of the fact
it's the greatest fitness business model on earth. Like, I'll put it against any franchise.
Whether you're a solopreneur that want to run those sessions, whether you want to get a trainer in and run a couple of those mornings, whether you want to get a trainer in and run all of those mornings and you sit at home.
Well, even we had beliefs because we thought that, okay, well, if we're in an indoor center, then our retention is going to be worse due to the lack of variety and lack of equipment. And our retention was exactly the same from our indoor boot camps to our commercial facility that had 50 grand worth of equipment. That was our belief. We also thought that if we were playing on a level playing field, having a commercial premises, we'd do even better because we're fucking killing it in this shitty indoor center. But what the indoor center was, mate, it was fucking different. It was fucking unique. You open up a gym in Newcastle, fuck, another gym in Newcastle. You open up a boot camp, oh my God, what's this new boot camp? It's completely different. There's excitement around it.
Maybe you are slightly capped with what you can charge compared to a facility, but the trade-off of that is the amount you're paying to hire out the facility and no lease.
And no fit out.
No fit out, no cleaning, no
electricity.
None of that.
Not clean the bathrooms.
None of that. But you still had access to it all. So we are huge proponents of this.
Yeah.
And there was actually a lady who's been working with us for last few months. I won't mention her name, but she's local to us over in the Toronto area. And she actually was running this model, and she said to me, hey, like, should I move into a facility? These are my options. And she ran through the pricing and everything with me. And I said, listen, you're not really sure if this is going to take off just yet. Let's just stick with what you're doing. And after a while, like if things are going well, then we can transition it. And she was making really good profit. She wasn't paying much.
Yeah.
She was still able to charge a good amount. We moved her from the pay per session onto a membership. And we just feel like that it is such a nice way and risk-free way for you to test the market, but also be able to make a really good amount of profit in a short period of time.
So again, we had 100 members, paying $40 each. We were in our direct debit, profiting, don't worry about GST or tax, over $4,000 in our direct debit, minus the rent, $3,600. You're an owner operator. You can run those 5 sessions a week and finish at 7:31 a.m. And I know what you're thinking, well, I can't go away for 2 weeks or 4 weeks. You'd be surprised. People will still keep their membership if you provide an online offering. But if you have to give up those 2 weeks of membership or a month of membership, again, compare that to a massive fit out or a commercial premises. And it's called a 10X bra. Go to 10X bra, get the facility bra, scale bra, vision bra, but there's also going bankrupt bra. So like this is the ultimate low risk option for you to start your own group fitness business with what you want, which is a direct debit.
Or you could pay someone $1,000 a week to run all the sessions and you can profit $2,500.
Yeah.
There's just so many options. And
we did this twice. We did this at Warners Bay and we did it at Berkeley Vale. Yeah. So we proved this model out twice. Looking back onto it, we had those beliefs in regards to you need a commercial facility. You fucking don't.
We also thought around time. Like you need to offer more than that. People aren't going to sign up if you don't have afternoon sessions.
Well, Dumbass 1, Dumbass 2, we actually, at the end of this program, right before COVID, right before we moved into commercial premises, we actually added in some Arvo sessions. We added 5 p.m. and 5:45
twice
Monday,
a week
Tuesday,
or something.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we tried to do a big sale around it. Didn't go too well. What the fucking worst thing that happens is some of your morning members, they just start coming in the Arvos.
You just spread out your current amount of members across more sessions. Yeah. Or leaving money on the table. Yeah. Famous last words.
Yeah. So again, like, I would say that we have very, very passionate views around, it's not even franchising. It is putting $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 into something that you're not sure is going to work or that you're not sure that you're going to enjoy. So why don't you take an extra 3 months and do this first and save yourself all that heartache? And let's say that you do this, it's successful. Option A, you keep doing it, you keep ripping money out of the business. Option B, you move into commercial premises and you've already got 100 members and you get to do 2 pre-sales. It's a win-win.
Even for anyone, if maybe they're thinking about doing like a second location, I would encourage to do something like this first, not just move straight into it. Even if you've got a location that's doing great and you had a great pre-sale or whatever, I still think new market, test something like this. And obviously the members that you have, if you do end up moving into a facility, they're going to be more excited than anyone. So I just don't really see, outside of probably just impatience.
I'll tell you what it is too. So like we were the black sheep of the Newcastle fitness industry. We didn't care about being too cool for school. We didn't care about the equipment. We didn't care about training women over the age of 40 and 50. We just wanted to have a safe, comfortable environment for those people to train. People would look at our boot camps and think that's shit. Look at our bank accounts. That's what you should be looking at. Because this made us $3,600 a week profit working 10 hours per week.
And that was one of our multiple locations.
Like it is just such
It just wasn't very glamorous.
No, not glamorous.
And that's what people wouldn't, they would literally not do it because of
the Instagram hype reels wouldn't look too fucking good.
No. So I think that would stop a lot of people. But from a logic standpoint, it's such a good way to go somewhere new. See if you're going to get members.
Yeah.
See if you like what you're doing, especially if you're new to it, or if you do have a second location, managing the resources that you have. And maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 6 months, 12 months, 3 years. Like maybe you never want to change. Maybe it's just this profit machine that you're only having to run 2 to 3 hours a morning, 5 days a week. You can take a morning off.
Yeah.
And don't forget, if you take a morning off, you don't have to pay for it. But you don't.
Yeah, we didn't pay for the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like around the Christmas period and stuff, like
So just let's go
rent was even less.
Let's go through the math. So $5,000 on a fit out, $4,500 on ads, $500 on equipment. Go to Kmart, get some of those blue and red mats, get some kettlebells, and maybe get a couple of slam balls. Pre-sale, launch it. That's what it costs you to open. Now, worst case scenario, you do that, you end up with 0 members. You spent $5,000, you lick your wounds, you live to fight another day.
You sell your mats.
Sell your mats. The flip side, you open up a big commercial premises, you put a bond down, you put a deposit down, you spend $100,000 of equipment, you might invest into a franchise, all in $500,000. And your pre-sale might be less successful than the one we did at Warners Bay. So there's a very, 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 very popular franchise. I have a location opening up in Newcastle recently. Spoke to a lady, she was lovely. They were doing a pre-sale a couple of weeks to go. They had 9 members. Like $500,000 in, 9 members.
Probably more than $500,000, really.
And
what about the exposure? Like they're signed stuff.
Yeah, like again, nothing against franchises, nothing against commercial spaces, nothing against scale and bra, having a big vision, all that crap.
I think this is just a good thing you do first.
Do you know what it is? We're just fucking realists. Things go wrong. Like March 2020, things go wrong. Like,
well, that's what ended up uprooting this.
Yeah, literally.
So if we were in a lease, then, and we were leases in our other ones, but this was so easy to move on from that.
Yeah.
And it was luckily fairly close to our physical other locations that we just moved the members
So we merged this location into our Cardiff location. Still cranking today. Go, Steve.
Yeah.
So just to recap, I'm going to get a quick rapid fire of exactly how you would do this. So fitness business owners make $3,600 a week profit with 12 kettlebells and a sports hall. How's that for a hook, mate? Pretty good. Part 1, look for an indoor sports center or community hall in your local area. Rent the space from 5:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. We paid $40 an hour, $80 a day, for $100 a week. Massive win-win for you, but also those indoor centers are begging for $400 a week between 5:30 and 7:30 because there's no indoor soccer.
Yeah.
You get an indoor space that's clean, dry, and reliable. They make money during hours they usually are dead. Spaces are often happy to lock in a regular weekly income, especially during those quiet times. Hot tip, negotiate lower rent to start because they want it as much as you do.
More than you, probably.
More than you do. Part 2, the structure. Run 3 40-minute sessions Monday through Friday. Sessions times 5:15, 6 a.m. and 6:45. I think we actually did half-hour sessions, giving us 15-minute windows to actually sell people in person in between those sessions.
I think we just were a bit we were unclear on the session length.
Yeah,
I think sometimes we duck off. Say, hey guys, here's your cool down. I just need to go chat with this lady.
Yeah. Now we started with 6 kettlebells and 12 mats. I've got the images up. I'm running an ad at the moment. Visit our Instagram profile. Really cool. If you want to splurge, grab 6 slam balls too. Lol. That's in the ad.
That's good.
Add more equipment after you open, and every time you add equipment, have a sale around it. We're getting bikes, we're getting skiers, we're getting slam balls, we're getting boxing gear.
Getting dumbbells.
Members love it when you bring new shit in, and it's amazing because you can have a facility, $500,000. Where's the aircon? Or you're in an indoor center. Oh, it's 24 kilo kettlebell. Thanks,
You-
boys.
And you just drip feed them.
Drip feed them.
Add something every month or two, and they'll appreciate it
Now,
more.
mate, I've actually got the ad that we ran for that location on this ad.
Ah.
So we'd like to introduce ourselves. We are open. Sessions are now running. 15 boot camps per week. Inbox for more details. Our names are Jamie Left and Mitch Wright. 359 likes, 446 comments, and 49 shares.
A lot of DMs from those comments.
A lot of DMs from those comments. And this is the timetable I made on Microsoft Word.
Microsoft Word.
Well, fucking no Canva then.
Yeah.
So go ahead and roast me in the comments.
Looks nice.
Pretty shit timetable. Okay, next part was part 3, the most important part, the pre-sale. Start with a 28-day beginner bootcamp challenge. I love the word beginner, love the word bootcamp. Now, membership options, direct debit only, $40 per week, 12-month commitment, $45 per week, 6 months, $50 per week, month to month. I think when we did this, I think we were like 35, 40, and 45 at the time, but increased prices as we opened. There are no fucking class packs. We hate class packs. There are no cash payments. If it's wet, they're going to give you $10. They are not going to the ATM before you start. Not to mention, people don't have cash anymore.
And if you do it for one person and they come and pay, and then that $10 is nice, cash free, you're going to keep doing it, and all of a sudden you got no one on direct debit.
Now, this is the key point. Run this like a professional fitness business, like you have signed a commercial lease and your life is on the line. However, you've got 6 kettlebells in a sports center. That was the key thing. We actually ran this like we were working at Anytime Fitness or World Gym, like we were back in the day.
Yeah, we had the whole sales and marketing process. We followed up with members. We had retention plays. We had software. Like we did everything.
Okay.
Events, they were a huge part of it.
Now, we would spend $1,000 per week on meta ads leading up to the opening. So we'd advertise a month out. That's a lot in 2019. So $1,000 a week on ads for 4 to 5 weeks in the pre-sale. The challenge costs $200 at the time. So the 28-day challenge for $200, and we'd bill them over the phone before the doors opened. During the pre-sale, we signed up roughly 50 members. So we spent $4,500 on ads, $500 on equipment. We opened with 50 members. We charged them $200 each. So we had $10,000 in our bank account before the days open. So we
made 10, paid 5 profit.
We opened a brand new facility, positive $5,000. And again, nothing against big commercial setups, nothing against franchises, the fees, all that bullshit. But that's what happened. And you can do it too. Because if you suck at sales and you're terrible and you get 25 people to pay $200, you break even. When sometimes people I talk to, they break even at 250 members. That's a tough life.
Yeah, I don't know how they sleep sometimes.
Okay. Now, during the pre-sale, we sign up 50 people, and then we'd roll over the day after the challenge ended. The membership would auto-renew onto the price that they chose. So again, 28 days, $200, continues day 29 and beyond. Let me know if you don't want to continue. It was that simple.
And then that was just before we started. And obviously, once we started, we kept running ads, and we got up to over 100. But even
I think we got to 100 in probably 10 weeks. So 4 weeks pre-sale, 6 week open.
Yeah, that sounds right. 3 months or something.
And Brody, I would call Brody our general manager now. She was a trainer at that location.
Yeah, that's where she started.
The other reason why we opened it too is Brody was a lovely person. She was a member, wanted to become a trainer, and we said, great, let's do it with her. It's fantastic.
Yeah, she was there every morning.
Part 4, profit and low risk. If you're an owner-operator, this is a brilliant model to run before opening a big fancy gym. 100 members times 40 is $4,000 per week. Minus the rent, $400, $3,600 profit per week. This made us more profit than 99% of gyms, even those that setup cost is $500K plus. No huge risk from signing a lease or franchise agreement. You run the sessions and finish work at 7:30 a.m. Big egos love big gyms. Big gyms often mean low profit. Don't be that person. Boot camps are incredible. They paid for our fucking houses.
Very true. So
I was going to repeat that, mate, just to drive that point home. If you're an owner-operator, this is a brilliant model to run before opening a big, fancy gym. 100 members times $40 is $4,000 per week. Minus the rent, $400 is $3,600 profit per week. This made us more profit than 99% of gyms, even those that cost $500K to set up. No huge risk from signing a lease or franchise agreement. You run the sessions and finish work at 7:31 a.m. Big egos love big gyms, but big gyms often mean low profits. Don't be that person. Boot camps are incredible. They paid for our houses. The room that I'm sitting in right now and recorded, this house was paid for. Not by our commercial gyms later on, by our boot camps.
I think, yeah, like you said, people's egos get in the way. Because we weren't taking our friends or our family to see Warners Bay Indoor Sports Centre.
Yeah,
Nothing to show.
I wasn't going down. I wasn't going there with Jared and Elliot to do a big. Yeah, like
It just wasn't. We didn't have access to it unless we were doing it for something else. So there's a lot of reasons why people wouldn't do this, and we're not going to get into life in general, but people do things for different reasons altogether. And this is one where people would be against the idea because they're not really in business to make money. They're there to show it off to social media
I'll
and their
give you the
friends and
one
family.
reason why I think a lot of gurus, business experts will say why you wouldn't do this. It's not really a sellable asset.
No.
And I'd ask that guru how many gyms sell for a profitable amount. And even if they sell, minus the fit out, minus the setup, minus them losing profit potentially years and years and years, what are you even selling?
Yeah. And obviously, if you transition this into a location, then it definitely becomes a sellable asset. But I think that's a problem into the future that may or may not ever arise. So you shouldn't not start it because of that reason.
No.
And the trade off is, in a good way, you're making money from day one.
Day one.
Lots of it.
We made money before day one.
Yeah.
So I just think that I have clients speak to me like, do you have a guarantee? Do you have a promise? And it's always fuck no. I guarantee nothing. I promise you shit. Because things go wrong. Businesses open and close every day. Council DAs don't get approved. Ads are difficult in some areas. Things just go wrong. And I was never ever comfortable putting $500,000 into a business where lots of things go wrong.
We put 1% of 500,000.
Yeah. And
maybe we just view things differently, but at least in fitness, when the product or the service, it can be pretty similar. That's the thing. Yes, obviously you're not going to have barbells, you're not going to have all the gear, but there's people in there working out, sweating, doing cardio, doing some strength training, having a laugh, enjoying themselves.
There's a picture of our first Christmas party.
Yeah, a lot of people.
We ran it just like a gym.
Yeah.
And so why do you guys go to Breakthrough Bootcamp? Oh, it's so different. It's not like any other gyms. There's no mirrors. So you can open up your next F45 clone and be one of 10 in the town. Or you can open up this brand new boot camp at the Indoor Sports Centre where people say, what's going on over there?
And just test it out. So
we had people join from F45 Warners Bay into our boot camp. This was the peak of F45 too.
I remember.
I was like, why are you even here? So this is great. We love it. Unbelievable.
Yeah, a lot of good that came out of it. And even now, it's one of our biggest accomplishments, I think. Truly, it's a great business.
Well, guys, we appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. If you want to open up a business, it's a great way to get started.